1260 KDUZ News, I'm Mark Wodarczyk. Human remains found over the weekend in southwestern Minnesota are indeed those of a Granite Falls man who's been missing for 7 months. J.P. Cola has more from Yellow Medicine County.
Sheriff Bill Flayton says the medical examiner has confirmed the body was that of 27-year-old Eric Solorzano. Solorzano was last seen April 2nd walking along Highway 212 between Granite Falls and Montevideo after he argued with his brother and got out of the car. His skeletal remains were found Saturday by a man who was scouting a deer hunting spot in a wildlife area along Highway 212, 5 miles northwest of Granite Falls.
The sheriff says there was an extensive air and ground search for Solorzano despite flooding along the Minnesota River last spring and summer. Hutchinson Technology Incorporated is reporting a net loss of $7.2 million or 31 cents a share on net sales of $74.4 million for its fiscal fourth quarter ending September 25th. In the preceding quarter, the company reported a net loss of $10.9 million or 47 cents a share on net sales of $72.2 million. Meanwhile, severe flooding in Thailand continues, which caused the company to suspend assembly operations at its Thailand facility in early October. Wayne Fortune, HTI's president and CEO, says although they believe it will take multiple quarters, HTI fully intends to resume operations in Thailand. Fortune says the operation in Thailand was meeting or exceeding expectations for volume, quality, and costs, and remains integral to enabling the company to become the industry's lowest cost producer of computer disk drive suspension assemblies. HTI is leveraging its U.S. assembly operations to offset the temporary loss of capacity in Thailand. In New Jersey, some 213,000 homes are still without power as a result of a big weekend snowstorm. Utility company crews are working around the clock to remove all the trees that knocked down power lines. This lineman is working hard at it as well.
So we want to get the people lights back on that's been out for a while. It's very rewarding. They're happy because they need their electricity.
Locked out union workers at American Crystal Sugar Company have rejected the latest contract offer from the company. Union officials announced yesterday that 92% of union members participated in the secret ballot and 90% voted against the proposal. Union spokesman John Risky said in a statement that employees want to work but will not accept a contract that puts our jobs and the entire community at risk. Company Vice President Brian Inglesrud told the Associated Press yesterday that he's disappointed the union voted no to working again. It's the second time workers have rejected an offer. About 1,300 workers have been locked out since August 1st at plants in North Dakota, Minnesota, and Iowa. The company is using replacement workers. The two sides met with a mediator last week. The president is heading overseas for a summit with new worries about Greece's debt. ABC's Brad Wheelis reports.
Focus on the White House. Part of the president's strategy to build voter confidence is speaking to local TV stations. A group of them were invited to the White House yesterday, and the president was asked about the lack of confidence people have in the government.
If they saw a series of actions that indicated that Congress was looking out for families and was trying to make sure that the American dream was alive and well, I think those ratings would bounce back pretty quickly.
While trying to shore up the economy here, the president has to worry about things overseas. He's headed abroad tonight. ABC News White House correspondent Ann Compton.
After a steady drumbeat of jobs projects here at home, President Obama has to depart for one of the grimmest economic summits ever at the G20 in France. All eyes will be on Greece and the financial crisis that is still plunging Europe into a tailspin. And he's making it clear, Brad, this is a mess European leaders have to fix fast, not the U.S.
I'm Brad Wheelis, ABC News.
Keith Ellison is among the members of Congress participating in the 4th annual Food Stamp Challenge. The Minneapolis Democrat is living on $4.50 a day for the next week, which represents the average benefit. Ellison says 46 million people are in poverty and depend on food stamps to eat.
22% of those are kids. Half of them have a job. Half of them go to work every day but don't make enough money to not be poor. And so our country, the richest country in the history of the world, can do better. And I'm going to do better by stepping in the shoes, even if it's for a small time.
Ellison says he's been eating beans and rice, oatmeal, and mixed drinks since last Thursday. He and the others are protesting cuts to federal food assistance. New scores on a national test of math and reading skills show Minnesota students remain above average, but several other states are pulling ahead. The scores from the National Assessment of Educational Progress, often called the nation's report card, it tests academic achievement of the nation's 4th and 8th graders. The Hutchinson School District will be holding a public forum tomorrow evening to discuss their request to extend one of the district's levies. School district residents will vote on the request on Tuesday of next week. The school board is asking district residents to approve renewing the current $127 per pupil operating levy, which is expiring. The levy would be for an additional 10 years. The public forum being held at the Hutchinson High School Library and begins at 6:15 tomorrow evening. Officials say the levy provides general education revenue to help cover operational expenses that include teachers, support staff, supplies, and transportation. Voting for the levy referendum election will be at the Hutchinson Recreation Center. Polls will be open from 7 in the morning till 8 in the evening, Tuesday of next week, November 8th. From preserving historic buildings to installing interpretive history markers along roadsides, Minnesotans now have access to more than $10 million for the cause of history and historic preservation through the Minnesota Historical and Cultural Heritage Grants. The Minnesota Historical Society, the organization responsible for administrating the grants, has announced 49 recipients from across the state, which include McLeod, Meeker, and Sibley counties. For McLeod County, $2,600 was given to the City of Glencoe Henry Hill School National Register nomination. Meeker County has been awarded $19,000 for several upgrades and projects. Sibley County was awarded just under $7,000 for a Minnesota River-related project. The McLeod County Park Commission will not allow the public to enter any of the 6 county parks from November 4th through November 14th. The reason is for public safety and to protect the wildlife during hunting season. The parks affected are Buffalo Creek Park Glencoe, Swan Lake Park Silver Lake, William May Park Winstead, Stalls Lake Park Hutchinson, Lake Marion Regional Park Brownton, and Piepenburg Regional Park Hutchinson. And officials remind the public that there is no hunting allowed on county park property. Ramsey County board members who want a new Minnesota Vikings stadium in their county say they're still in the hunt after Governor Mark Dayton announced no state or local taxes should go to the construction.
Dayton's announcement seems to take a proposed $350 million sales tax hike in Ramsey County off the table. Dayton and legislative leaders say there is not support in the legislature to override a public vote on a local tax hike. I'm Abby Popp.
Minnesota Vikings officials remain optimistic about getting a deal for a new Vikings stadium, despite yesterday's announcement by the governor and legislative leaders that basically eliminates a local sales tax as an option for funding the stadium. The Vikings' Jeff Anderson.
We're committed to working with state leaders and completing this